Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. York, and I'm going to be your third grade reading teacher while we're learning online. So I have my Read Your Heart Out t-shirt on to get us all revved up for reading. And we're going to be starting a new unit on animal research. So I'm really excited about this because I love learning about new things, especially animals. So I hope you're all as excited as I am. I want to show you that you're going to have a collection of books. We're going to be first learning about penguins. All of us will be learning about penguins together, but you'll have a chance later on in a few weeks to pick an animal to research yourself. So for our penguin research, I've created a collection of penguin books online for you on Epic, and I will link that in your assignment for today. So here I have a different set of penguin books that I'm going to be using just to show you what to do with them, and then you'll have a chance to go online on my link and read some penguin books yourself. So I want to show you what to do when you're first learning about something and you're researching, and you have all kinds of resources here. Like I have these 3 penguin books, but I also have a whole bunch more penguin books here. So I want to show you what to do when you have a lot of resources and you're trying to research and become an expert on something. The first thing you want to do is look at all of your resources. So I have quite a few here. Online you'll see that I think I put 11 books in your collection. Now the difference is you're not going to be able to actually touch your books. You're going to have to do this work online, but you should still be able to do it. So the first thing you want to do is just peek around and try to see if you know which books would be the easiest to read and which books would be the hardest to read. If you actually had them in your hand, I would have you put them in order from easiest to hardest. So I'm going to do that right now. And when I peek through my books here, I notice that this one looks pretty easy. Do you agree? Looks like maybe a kindergartner or first grader would read these books. And you can see we've used these books a lot, so some of them are falling apart. But I'm going to keep them intact. So I think this is probably my easiest book. And then if I'm looking through, some of my books have just parts about penguins, but not the whole book. This one has a chapter about penguins. That looks a little bit harder to read, though. I think some of mine here have quite a few words on the page too. So you see, I can put them in order by just looking at the words on the page. I don't have to actually read it. So if I'm going to do that, I think the 3 that I have up here might be my hardest, and the ones in my hands might be my easier books. So once you've looked at your collection and you've figured out which book might be the easiest to read, it's a good idea to start with that one. That might be a good way to get an overview of the animal that you're going to research. So I'm going to start with my easy books today about penguins, and I'm going to really quickly go through this book. It won't take me long to read because it's my easiest book. Alright, so this one says penguins. The female penguins lay eggs. The male penguins warm the eggs. Fun fact, a female penguin lays 1 or 2 eggs and then she heads back to the water. It is winter near the South Pole. The penguins keep warm. The eggs hatch. The mother and the father penguins feed their chicks. Fun fact, a young penguin is called a chick. It is spring near the South Pole. The mother and father penguins keep their chicks safe. Fun fact, the penguin mothers and fathers protect their chicks from birds and other penguins. It is summer near the South Pole. The penguin chicks swim and dive in the water. The penguins eat lots and lots of fish. So that was my easiest book, but I still learned about baby penguins, when they're born, what they eat, who takes care of them. So that was a quick overview. So that's what you'll be doing today, is looking through the penguin books. Find one that looks the easiest and start with that one to get a quick overview of penguins. And here's the second step. After you've done that, you're going to start taking penguin notes, because that's what researchers do. They don't read every book cover to cover like we did with this one. They read a little bit of each book, but they read the parts that fit together. So remember back when we did informational reading earlier this year, we learned that you can take something from one book and a part from another book, and you can put it together. That's called cross-text synthesis. And that's what we're going to start doing when we're researching. We're going to take parts of one book and combine it with a part from another book to put those pieces of information together. So up on my board here, I'm going to show you a way to start your animal notes about penguins. And your assignment today will be to work on these notes on Seesaw. And I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. So on your assignment, it's going to look like this. It's going to say penguins at the top. And then there's going to be a line down the middle. That line's just going to help us keep things organized. So we're going to write information on each side, but we need to research some parts because if we do all of it all together, it's too overwhelming. So I noticed as I was reading through my penguin books today, I saw that there's a table of contents in a lot of my books, and I could quickly go down through and look for a part that I'm interested in learning about. And I love animal babies. So I liked the part called Growing Up. And so I turned to that page about growing up. I didn't read the rest of the book yet. I turned right to this page about growing up with the penguin babies. And what I did is I read about growing up. A penguin chick grows quickly. Soon both of its parents have to hunt in order to feed it. While its parents are away, the chick huddles with other chicks for warmth and protection. A group of chicks is called a creche. Creches are guarded by adults that do not have chicks of their own. These guardians are called aunties. Several weeks after it's born, the chick loses its baby down and its adult feathers start to show. Losing down is called fledging. Some scientists think fledging makes chicks grumpy. So I just read some parts about chicks growing up. And so I think I would like to stick with that subtopic for right now, growing up, because I really like penguin babies and what they do when they grow up. So over here on this side, I'm going to call this topic or subtopic growing up. And you'll see on the assignment, I actually wrote subtopic number 1. And you can put growing up right in that little box that you're going to see. It's going to look just like that, growing up. And then you can start to put information on this side about penguins as they grow up. So what's something you would like to add that you heard me just read about in this book? I know one. I love that penguins that take care of other penguins when they're babies, they're called aunties. The penguins that take care of the chicks that don't have their own chick. So I'm going to say aunties take care of penguin chicks. Now I'm going to add anything else that I think is important about them growing up. I probably want to put that they grow up in a creche. The creche is a group of them all together. I probably want to put something about what they look like when they first are born. But then what I'm going to do, instead of reading the rest of this book, I'm going to pick another book and see if I can find more parts about growing up. So I'm going to look through this new penguin book. This one's called The Penguin. And this one doesn't have a table of contents, so I'm going to flip through and look at the headings. Do you see how there's headings? Do you think At the South Pole would have anything about babies? What about Fishing Champions? Probably not. Love songs. Dangers. Giant chicks. That might. Ooh, but I bet this one might be where I can find it, because this is called In the Brood. And look at all those penguin babies. I bet this page has some ideas that I can put on my notes page right here about penguins growing up. Let's see. By May, chicks that are well nourished by their parents weigh 26 pounds. But by September, those chicks that have survived only weigh around 13 pounds. What happened? All during winter, young penguins stay in their colony, or they gather in a group called a creche. We just learned about that. The adults leave to hunt and won't be back for 5 or 6 weeks. Left alone in this bleak and terrible place, chicks huddle together with their head tucked into their body, clinging to each other to protect themselves from cold and predators. The chicks fast, which means they don't eat, for more than a month, and they lose a lot of weight. That's an important thing we should probably put on here, is that chicks actually lose weight quite a bit. They lose half their weight when their parents leave them. So I'm going to write lose half of their weight after they're born for a little bit. When parents leave. So I'm learning a lot of things about penguin babies. Here's what I want you to do today. This is your assignment that your teacher will put on Seesaw for you. What you're going to do is you're going to click the assignment that's called Penguin Notes. And you're going to see a page that looks just like my board here. It's going to say penguins at the top. It's going to have this side, but I didn't label it for you. You're going to go in and label it growing up. And you're going to start taking some notes on penguins growing up. That means the babies. So you're going to have to go click the link on Seesaw Assignment and read some of the penguin chapters about growing up. And then today, I want you to start another subtopic on this side. So this is going to be subtopic number 2, and there's going to be a box here for you. You're going to have to pick another topic you want to learn about. It could be penguin food, or it could be penguin eggs. Whatever you look through the book and you're interested in learning about, that's what you can put over here. And then you start taking notes about that subtopic. So today, your job is only to read a few of the penguin books. You don't need to read all of them. You're going to look them over, maybe find the easier ones first, and you're going to read just the parts that go together. So you can find a couple books that talk about growing up. Then you could find a couple penguin books that talk about another subtopic, and you're going to add that to your notes and send it to your teacher. Okay? So I'm excited to learn about penguins, and I hope you are too. And I will see you in a couple of days for another reading lesson. Bye!